Let's hit record. Hello, video audience.
So we're talking about Kristen McVie and Fleetwood Mac, and
right. And you just said Stevie Nicks you wouldn't train because she was a pain.
Trainer. I trained a lot of celebrities, and my bigger list is the list I turned down, and Stevie Nicks is on that list.
I didn't know that.
It was some versions of, can you get here to Malibu between this time and that time? Right. I can only work out when my chakras and my, blah, blah, then the and you're gonna have to come at this time and that, and it wasn't just about the time. It was, I think it had something with her to do with diet too. Don't tell me what to eat and how to. It's like, well, okay, well, we're done. 80% of what I do is get you to eat right to lose the weight. You're gonna
sounds like she wasn't wanting to follow direction.
Person who's not healthy, you're gonna tell me, no, I don't think so. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, she fell into that same camp as Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr is another one that famously wouldn't train.
Didn't she show up with Tom Arnold at the meeting or something?
Yeah, I probably told you some stuff off the air, and I don't want to repeat it here. Yeah, they were.
And we don't have Bill to cut things out anymore. So
yeah, no, we
I love it when I ruin the podcast because it doesn't happen that often.
They were married at the time, and they wanted me to train them, and some stuff happened during the interview,
and words were spoken.
Yeah, some stuff happened, and I was like, all right, okay, I gotta go, and I just never went back. There was a few people like that.
All right. Well,
that should be my book. People I didn't train. That should be the next book.
That's the thing. Every time a celebrity comes out with a memoir and they're like, oh my God, they told so much about the memoir. I'm like, you have no idea how much more they didn't tell. That Matthew Perry book that everyone's like freaking out. I'm like, dude, there's so much more. There's so much more.
What is he saying? That he was.
Well, I actually thought I kind of thought it was interesting. I liked it, and I like how open he's being about his addiction. It's a miracle that guy's alive, and he knows it too. Like that guy has been clinically dead like so many times and overdosed, and it's just nuts. But the romantic stuff is what always gets me, because having known a lot of famous people, there's some relationships that you know about, and then just like how regular people are entitled to their one night stands and their, dalliances and their drunken flings. Yeah. So are celebrities, but they can't really talk about it because then everybody be like, oh my God, they slept together. You know what I mean? When it's really nobody's business, but I'm always like, there's always more stories. Trust me.
Well, the thing that I always say is, like, I was, with the sleeping around thing, I was able to end up in certain situations with celebrities, right? And I was nobody. So I can only imagine, what and of course, a lot of times I saw people, when I'm showing up to go to their house to train them, and who was leaving the house. And
right.
So both men and women, by the way, this is, if you think this is just a man thing, the women, I would say, they're actually worse. They it's like, hey, I'm a woman, watch me roar. Helen Reddy came out with a song, and our group went, okay, we're going to do
this. Use that celebrity and get you that good dick, honey.
Oh yeah. Look, I mean, they talk about this guy right now with the big dick energy and all this kind of stuff. And I sit back and I go, man, the stuff I saw and the stuff I got into just being adjacent to celebrity, that it's like, wait, if I'm getting this kind of tail, I wonder what everyone else is,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All you have to do is be adjacent to it, and somehow it becomes, it's power and good looking people and money. It's, the book they wanted me to write, and I wouldn't do it. But yeah, I'm sure you and I need to sit together with a scotch one night.
I know we do,
with mics on, and
talk about what we've seen,
and just where we.
And I could just tell stories of what I've seen, not even on the stories that I've heard.
What's the biggest in Matthew Perry's book? You read the book, obviously.
I know I've heard bits and pieces of the audiobook, but I actually want to read it. I'm
So
interested. I love
what's the
memoirs.
biggest?
To me,
What would be shocked by? I mean, what some chick he was with, or was he with?
well, I was
I don't
I
even know what he's
was
into.
maybe because I wasn't really paying attention at the time, because when Friends was really popular, I was busy with my theater company, because I founded a theater company in Atlanta that's still there.
Right.
And at the time we were 5 nights a week there. So I didn't see a lot of Friends until it became repeats years later, because I was busy building a theater company. And I know that Julia Roberts was on Friends, but it was because that he started dating her that she agreed to do it. And remember at the time how crazy it was for a movie star like that to go guest on a TV. And they wound up getting Bruce Willis. They got Brad Pitt. They got like a movie. And it doesn't seem that crazy now, because now, we have TV stars doing movies and
Tom
movie
Selleck.
stars.
I mean, it goes on and on and on.
I mean, like it was so crazy the amount of movie stars that they got to guest star on their little sitcom, and how big the sitcom was. But they started dating, and then he basically like freaked out, because he was like, she's the most famous woman in the world. I have to dump her. And he panicked and he freaked out and dumped her. And I was like, I was surprised to hear. And I was like, I'm glad that he was honest about that. He's basically like, I don't know what to do. Break up with her. Just dump her.
Kevin Bright was a client.
Mm-hmm.
Bright, Kaufman, Crane. So I knew one
and
of
of course, Kevin Bright and Marta Kaufman know Andrea really well. So
right. So Kevin Bright was one of my clients. I don't talk about him often, but people know that I've trained him. And by the way, everybody back then wanted me to introduce him to Kevin Bright. Right. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't. That's right, because Kevin went on with Witchamajigga and did another show afterwards that was a failure with LeBlanc.
They did Joey. I mean, it ran for 2 seasons. Right now, if you had a show that ran for 2 seasons, it would be
a hit. Yeah, but back then, you're coming off
because it was off of Friends. Yeah,
10 years of Friends. Then one of the biggest juggernauts ever. Kevin told me one time, I don't know how we got into the conversation. We would only get into it when he would bring it up. But he said to me, celebrities started showing up on the celebrities were calling them.
Yeah.
Saying, can I be on your show? It's my kid's favorite show. That's how celebrities end up on shows a lot of times.
Right.
Like they'll just say, hey, can you bring me in to guest star? This is my kid's favorite show. And
right.
I know this sounds weird, but these celebrities are always trying to impress their kids. And their kids.
It's true, because kids usually don't really care what you do for a living.
It's like
that makes sense.
You're Bruce Willis, and your kids are going, and both of your parents are big celebrities, right? And Bruce Willis is, the kids are like, yippee-ki-yay. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Die Hard.
That movie.
Die Hard, some dumb, stupid Christmas movie my dad did.
G.I. Jane. What's G.I. mean? And this and that. So these celebrities they would call up the producers of all kinds of shows like that. Hey, you mind if I guest on a show? It's my kid's favorite show. They were literally trying to get to their kid through the television screen. According to Kevin.
By the way, I have a very low stakes version of this, which is, so when Lucy was in high school, she was really close with Pamela Adlon's girls, 2 of her girls.
Yeah.
Odessa and Gideon. And one I think was a year younger, one's a year older. They were all really tight friends. And it was all talk about Pamela Adlon. She is, and this is before she was doing her Better Things show.
Right.
So she was King of the Hill. She's done a ton of animated stuff. And it was just really funny because Lucy would talk about Pamela Adlon. Oh, Pamela Adlon did this video game. And I was like, Lucy, guess who else was in that video game? Your mother.
Didn't matter, right?
Hey, guess who else was on cartoons? Your mother. Now, granted, I wasn't an iconic voice on King of the Hill.
Right.
But still huge list of credits. And she was like, yeah, whatever. And she was like, I hate voiceover. Voiceover is stupid. But Pamela Adlon is so cool. We were hanging out and Pamela came and she was and she was the coolest. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? Your mom is also cool. Like, got to me. She's
but
like, no.
You'll never be cool to them.
No.
I'll never forget the first time, because, I would go to celebrity parties and the whole thing, but Howie would have like a 4th of July party at his place in Malibu. And it was friends and family and kids. He's kind of a family guy, right?
Yeah.
And so it was early on when, Tallulah was really young. And it was like, hey, Tallulah, you want to go to a really cool party in Malibu? And she's like, yeah. I was like, all right. So I don't know if Serena even came, but it took Tallulah, and she enjoyed it so much. She was like, can we go again? Can we go next year? It's like, well, Mr. Mandel needs to invite us again next year, but I'm sure if he invites us,
yeah,
they would get impressed because of all the stuff, like the ice cream
right.
and
They were like, that's a real party.
Alberta,
My
for the
parents never
chocolate.
threw a real party like that.
Right. And there was
Right.
fireworks and all this kind of
Right.
stuff. And,
yeah, on that, I could never compete.
like Blues Traveler was there, and, just like
Yeah.
other celebrities are there, and that kind of stuff. And, and it's like, God, you won't even know how the world works after that.
No, that's what I was trying to explain.
figure it out.
Anyway, hey, guess what? People
Yeah.
have questions for you, and you're
All
going
right.
to answer them.
Here I go.
By the way, I like your festive red sweater. It looks like a Christmas sweater. This is going to air Monday, December 5th.
Mm-hmm.
You're wearing a Christmas sweater. You're wearing an NSNG hat. Tonight, you guys, is the deadline. If you're going to pre-order the graphite or the orange hat, tonight is the deadline. And I'm telling you, when Debbie says she's taking it down, she's taking it down. So make sure you order your hat, because whatever is ordered, pre-ordered by you guys is what's going to be made. I don't think she's making any extras this time, is she?
No.
Okay.
They make about 10 extras.
Okay. Which is hardly any. Yeah.
And yeah, like I'll get like 10 of them because I sweat through them really fast. And I'll also have like 5 or 6. So, if I go somewhere, if someone invites me to talk or whatever, I like to bring a gift. I bring your book a lot of times.
Thank you.
And, like I tell people, I know everyone thinks I'm kidding about this. I buy tons of your book and just keep them stacked up because, when I go somewhere, I feel weird bringing a bottle of wine. I'm the guy that does no sugars, no grains. I show up with wine. I bring you a cookbook, this kind of thing. I'm going to start bringing your powders more, but I've been hoarding those.
The 3-pack of the spices is a really cute gift, especially if you know the person likes to cook. That's a fun thing. But I'm going to say, order this hat by tonight, you guys. If you're listening to this podcast the day it comes out, if you're listening tomorrow, Tuesday and beyond, it's too late. Hopefully you saw in the Facebook group that the deadline is hit. But get you that hat. They're a really nice, high quality hat. Vinny, can you show the inside of the hat, or you don't want to show your hat head?
No, I don't care.
Your hair looks good. How do you not have a hat head?
Because I'm special. It's made by New Era. It's a New Era hat. A very high end hat. It's the 3930 because they make a lot of different, brands, right?
Yeah.
This is the 3930, and I like the way they fit. They
now, is that the graphite color?
This is the graphite.
There's also going to be an orange one, which I love the orange.
The orange is my favorite. That was my favorite. Debbie wanted the gray. I wanted the orange. I think the gray is kicking ass on the orange.
I think it is too, which I'm surprised. I thought more people would want to get orange.
It's just like people just aren't cool, or they're not Italian, one of the two. I'm just saying.
If you want to be cool and like an Italian, you should get the orange. Just putting that out there. So go to VinnieTortorich.com, click through the hat link. It's a cute picture of Lois wearing the hat. So,
you guys must see what my fake girlfriend looks like. Let me start because I remember one of the questions, and I said, "Hey, Anna, remind me of this question because it was asked on Twitter." VO2 Max.
Yes, VO2 capacity. Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay,
first, great. And I get what he was saying. So, what's VO2? So, VO2 is VO. It's oxygen. So it's when you figure out VO2 max, it's the maximum oxygen consumption. It's the amount of oxygen that anyone can utilize during intense exercise, meaning at the top end of your game. And it's a good way to determine aerobic fitness. And I think the question, Anna, if you have the question, do you have it there? Was the guy saying my VO2?
I don't. I just said remind Vinny to talk about VO2 capacity.
All right, so I'm going to talk around it because I think he was saying that his VO2 max was sub maximum or maximal, or it lowered, or he wanted to get it up. So whichever way this works, I'll talk about it. So the only way to really increase VO2 max is to optimize your volume of oxygen uptake, right? And this is
Okay.
where everyone gets confused. Everyone says the only way to do that is to keep banging on the ceiling of it, right? Like going into upper zone 4, right where you're at your max. You got to, keep working that system so that somehow your body will magically be able to utilize its volume of oxygen to its fullest for a longer period. And truth of the matter is, if you're doing interval training a few times a week, that will get you somewhere. It will get you close, but that doesn't tell the whole story. And I know I bang on a lot about zone 2 training, but in zone 2 training, we all hear this popular word on the internet, mitochondria health, building up more mitochondria. The more mitochondria, the more, blood vessels we could build up, the more everything, the better the machine will run, the higher the oxygen uptake can be, right? If you build a really strong heart, but you're not working on building the mitochondria, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So if you put a big 454 big block in a car, but you have the same drive shaft that you have in a Prius, a little wimpy drive shaft, because there's no power in a Prius. Well, if you try to twist that thing up, you're just going to rip that drive shaft right off, right? Or you're going to ruin the transmission or the rear end. It's just not going to hold up because you have too much engine over here and it's not getting what you need to the back wheels, right? You're going to strip something along the way, right? Everything has to match. You got that much power in the engine, you got to have a bigger pressure plate on your transmission. You have to have a bigger drive shaft. You need to have bigger gears in your rear end. You have to have a stronger axle to get that power to the wheels.
You said bigger gears in your rear end.
That's right. That's what I said.
Continue, please.
You need bigger cogs, baby. So
we all do.
You understand? So if the heart is all built up, but you can't get that power to your muscles, it's for nothing. You didn't do anything. So the way you train the system overall is to increase volume of VO2 of zone 2. You just increase that volume. You stay between 70 and 80% of your aerobic capacity, and you add time. And the longer you can do that, now you're doing something.
How long should you be doing that every day? And should you be doing it every day of the week, 7 days a week? Like, it's not a thing where you have to recover from it, right? You can do that.
You should have days off, right? Now, I know I'm doing an hour of aerobics a day for the whole year, but I'm changing it up all the time. And I don't even do it every day, right? I just have to do 365 hours by the end of the year. So I could do 2 hours on one day and no hours the next day. A lot of times I've only hit it 4 or 5 days a week, but I do between 90 minutes and 2 hours when I do it. So I'll tell you where I am right now.
Do you write it down in your book after you do it?
Every single
time. Is that how you're tracking it?
The book is right here.
I think I want to do that for next year.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
As of today, I'm at 300. I was
going to say 300.
Yeah. I'm at 387 hours and 15 minutes.
Hell yeah.
So I've reached my goal. And I think I talked about this on a different show.
And this is just rowing, cycling. You don't count your walks or your runs.
No, if I'm running, that counts. Okay. Zone 2. When I'm walking, talking on the phone, that doesn't count. Rowing, cycling, running, hard hikes, meaning real hikes where I'm busting it. Kayak. If I didn't do a whole lot of kayaking. I was more busy building a kayak. Look, I could have counted some of those hours sanding on that kayak because you're hammering that.
Yeah.
That's harder than some of the other stuff I did, but do these aerobics. And when I got to 365 hours a couple of weeks ago, I could have said, okay, I hit my yearly goal. I'm taking the rest of the year off. What I did was I reassessed, right? I said, okay, I got to 365. I have this many days left. I do have to travel a bunch and I have to work on the movie and I'm doing all this other stuff. So I made 400 the new goal.
Great.
And if
You're
I
going
get
to
to
get there.
400
You're going to get there in the
before New
next
Year's,
week.
well, like I said, a lot of stuff going on. I'm working
Right.
on a lot of projects. But if I get to 400, then I will go, okay, how much time do I have left in the year? I might end up at 410, 408, whatever. But I'll assess, I'll make a new thing if I hit the 400. So you see, I hit my goal and I'm creating. So that's how I keep my VO2 max up. That's why whenever it came time that day, when I decided on a Friday, okay, tomorrow I'm going to walk 12 hours, I was able to cover easily 35 hours on my feet in 12 hours. It didn't bother me in any way, shape, or form. See, I was fit to go do something that next, right? And as it turns out, this sounds braggadocious, but it is not meant to be. I thought 35 hours, it could have been as much as 37 miles, not 35, but I gave myself 35. I just measured the steps and took an average.
Yeah.
If Lois, she's done it. I think she told me she got like 23 or 24 miles. Gina Grad did it. I think she told me she got 21 miles. Most people that are doing it are telling me between 20 and 24 miles. So, I think I did well with what I. And I thought that, oh my God, everyone's going to do more than, because I wasn't even thinking of miles. I just noticed that my watch counted the steps and that, I did over 75,000 steps. So I calculated 70,000 steps would have been 35 plus miles. So I probably did closer to 36 or 37 miles.
Wow.
So that's what being in shape will allow you to do.
So wait, go back to the taking a day off thing. Because I didn't think that you had to take a day off from doing zone 2 stuff.
No, it was just I had to get.
You could do it every day.
Right. I could have done 1 hour every day. I could have made it a streak. Right. I didn't make it a streak. My friend, Dr. Amir, he likes doing streaks, not missing a day. There are people out there. My buddy Dan Lynch is on his second streak on a rower. He had the world record going, I don't know, several thousand days without missing or whatever. And then because of cancer and the flu or COVID or something altogether, he missed a day and then immediately started a new streak. And
that's a lot of things to happen all at once.
Yeah. Dan is that guy that goes for it. There are guys that have done at least 1 mile of running every day.
Yeah.
Streaks, right? There are people who have put together long streaks. I'm not a streak guy. I could be a streak guy. You understand what I mean by streak?
Yeah.
Just putting in consecutive.
Oh, I'm a streak person. I like doing the whole streak. I like saying, I'm going to do 30 days of this. Because remember when you said a while ago, we did a 30-day planking challenge in the group.
Right.
And the only rule that I made for myself was I had to plank for like 10 seconds longer than I did the day before. So you're building up, right?
Right.
And you said to me, you have to take a day off. And I said to you, if I take a day off, I might not start again. That's the problem.
Right.
So maybe for me, it's better to say, instead of saying I have to do more planks than the day before, more plank time than the day before, instead say, I'm going to do a streak because that's what gets me to do it.
Right.
Because I can't miss a day mentally. But maybe I don't have to do more than I did the day before. Maybe I just say this a certain amount of time. So I'm not working to fatigue, right?
Let's talk about that. Let's go back to Dan Lynch.
Okay.
I asked Dan how, because it's not one of the official, it's an unofficial record that's acknowledged by Concept 2. They have a lot of official records over there. And I asked Dan how that worked. And he said that you can make up anything you want. So the way the other person that he beat set it up was, to call it a day of rowing, it's got to be at least 10,000 meters, which takes about 10 minutes.
Right.
To do. Right. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
2,000 meters, which takes about,
2,000. Okay.
yeah.
I was going to say
So it's
10,000
got to
meters
be
is
at
a little
least
longer.
2,000
I was
meters.
like, I said yes because I was like, wow, I'm really
Yeah,
slow.
I had it backwards because I was thinking 10 minutes. So
Oh, wait, but I'm also thinking of the bike too. So I might just have it
now
wrong.
Dan can actually do 2,000 meters in around 7 minutes. He's actually in the 50
Right.
60 plus age group that he's on that record list, right? So he can do it in 7 minutes, but that you can't do that every day because that's going to maximal every day. That's what we're talking about. You're not building anything up like that. So Dan, he has to do at least 2,000 meters, which is roughly 9 to 10 minutes on any given day.
Okay.
Some days he'll do 45 minutes. Some days he'll do 90. He'll write to me, yeah, I did 90 minutes today, or something like that. Or he'll show me a snapshot. He goes, yeah, 90 minutes. I did this.
But he's not working to max. He's doing zone 2.
He's in zone 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, but the difference is with the plank thing that you were telling us when the group, we all thought we were so smart to do a plank challenge. And you were like, no, you actually should take a day off to rest those muscles. Cause that's not a VO2 situation. That's not a zone 2 situation. That's a strength training situation.
Right. So you could still do every day with a plank and just say, okay, on my off day, I'll only do a minute, like a minute, whatever the deal.
The on day, I'll do 3 minutes.
How long were you guys doing?
I mean, we worked up to pretty. I mean, for me, I thought it was pretty high, 3.5 to 5 minutes in that range. So
that is long to hold a plank. Yeah, it is. The other day I got on the floor, I was stretching and the whole thing, and I just wanted to do a plank. And
sometimes you just want to do a plank.
Sometimes you just say to yourself, I just need to do a plank.
Oh my God. No, I was on the longest business call with this most long-winded guy who was so sweet, but he was so long-winded. And I was in Burbank with Skeeter and I just started planking and he was like, are you insane? I was like, I can't sit here and listen to this guy talk anymore. I have to do something with my body.
Yeah. I do that with
a lot of the call.
Oh my God. I was about to say I do that with Andy when he calls. He just said that, look, he's calling me.
Oh my God, that's crazy. You better plank now.
Wait, let me just tell him.
Hold on.
Hey, Andy, I can't talk. I'm podcasting with Anna, but I got to tell you this. I mentioned your name, and as soon as I mentioned it, the phone rang.
My socks are really
slippery. You don't seem as excited as I want you to be about this. All right, hey, can I call you after we podcast? Yeah. Okay, I'll say kind things about you. We always say kind things about you. Anna, you know that Andy is such a jerk. I mean, just a jerk, right? Right? Yeah. Yeah, I'll do what I do. Let's talk in a bit, man. Bye. There's my business partner. Anna, what happened to you? Where did you go? Get up, get off the floor. What are you doing?
It's hard to do when your socks are slippery. I should have taken my socks off.
Nina Taisho's just wrote to me. Let me see if she has to say.
Does she have a question about planking? Because right now you're kind of on a roll.
Oh, she sent me something that was going to just make me mad.
Oh, no. One of those articles where you're like, God damn it.
It's like, come on, Nina, help a brother out.
Not the government.
Oh, my
God.
Oh,
no. When I get mad, I turn into Mari. Oh, no. Not that government.
God. Yeah. I feel like writing back to her. No, I'll wait because I know exactly what I got to tell her.
Okay, so VO2 capacity. Then how do you know when you've expanded your VO2 capacity? You can just go longer or your heart rate goes lower, or like what's the telltale sign that you've done a good job?
Well, when you do a maximal test, you can see where you are, right?
Oh, well, for the rest of us who aren't doing those, is there even a way to tell?
Yeah. All right. Here's how you know you're getting stronger.
You might get VO2 capacity.
Yeah. All right. Here's how you know.
Yeah.
Let's say, I'm just going to make up simple numbers. Let's say Anna goes out and she can jog comfortably in zone 2 and go 1 mile every 13 minutes. Doesn't have to be real or not. Let's just say
That would be really, even for me, that's slow.
Give me a number, Anna. Just give me a number. I'm just making up
11 minutes. Give me 11 minutes, Vinny.
Okay, Anna's out jogging.
Jesus
and
Christ.
she can do 11-minute miles at a heart rate of 130. Let's just say. Okay. We're good with that?
It would probably be higher than that if I'm being honest. But okay, yeah.
And I'm just trying to come up with a thing. I'm just trying to
but I'm trying to make it about me.
Okay, which let's see, your age minus okay.
I know it should be 130, but it probably 135.
Okay, let's say 135. So Anna can right now can go out and jog a mile, 11 minutes per mile, and her heart rate is at 135.
And that's not trying to push it. That's trying to do
this
zone 2.
We're not talking
following
pushing.
Vinny's direction.
This is not pushing. This is you're in zone 2. You're in the middle of zone 2, and you went 1 mile. Okay, can we move on now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. As you get stronger, as you do that over and over, meaning you're training for longer than a mile. Maybe you're doing 12-minute miles for 4 and 5 miles at a time.
Okay, yes.
Right. So you're moving even slower and you're doing 4 and 5 miles. Let's say it takes you 12 times 5 comes to what? An hour, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. You're running for an hour and you're doing 12-minute miles and you do 5 miles.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. After a month, you go back and you do your 1 mile test at 135. And instead of going a mile, maybe you went a mile point blah, blah, blah.
Stop it.
Right. Or maybe you do the mile. Let's say you're running on a track and you do just a mile. It doesn't take you 11 minutes anymore. It only takes you 10 minutes and 40 seconds.
Oh my God.
See?
Your splits went down.
That's not just split. The split.
I like saying splits.
I know you like to say splits, but that's just the whole contest. All right.
Okay.
All right. So then you keep running your 1 hour, 3 or 4 days a week. And you know, now instead of 12 minutes, now you're doing it at 11 minutes and 50 seconds or something. You know, you're moving a little faster, heart rate staying down there and the whole thing. A month later, you go check again. You go do your mile test. And here's what happens. You're building up mitochondria. You're becoming more efficient. Your heart's becoming more efficient. Now you're at 135. And it's nowhere close to 1040. It might be 1020, 1025. See, it just keeps moving down. You're doing the same heart rate and it keeps moving down. That's also an indication that if you sped up to get your maximal, that you would be moving faster because now you have more mitochondria. You're using blood oxygen to a higher degree.
Right.
Making sense?
Yeah, I'm so glad that I bothered you and asked that question because that's actually a really cool way to be able to tell.
Yeah. And look, I mean, sometimes I've gotten people with running and I'll use Robin Dobbins.
Yeah.
I'm going to use her as an example. She called me and she was like, hey, I got this rowing machine and I can't stay anywhere near zone 2 and I'm barely moving. Right. So I said, look, call me when
rowing machines are a lot.
But I said, call me when you have your husband or your kid or someone who we could FaceTime. I need to get someone to sit next to you at that level so I can watch you row.
Right.
Right. So they called. Matt was there, her husband. And I said, Matt, get alongside her, you know, perpendicular. And Robin, I want you to row exactly the way you would row. All I did was corrected her technique.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes you could be very efficient when you correct, you know, so you could fix things with technique. Now, once you have the right technique, now you can continue on and figure out where you need to be. Same with running, same with hiking, same with cycling. I can't tell you how many people, you know, because I used to do bike fits, you know, just, and by the way, I would drive everybody nuts because I would charge $75 for a bike fit. Everybody else in LA was a couple $100 if you wanted a bike fit, that kind of thing.
You gave me a bike fit over FaceTime.
Yeah. Yeah.
On my concept too.
Yeah, I gave you a bike fit, baby.
Yeah, you did.
But, you know, I used to go and do bike fits. I had a little tool chest with all my measuring tools and my plumb and, all the stuff, these
The
gauges.
plumb thing was what got me.
Yeah. And I would just,
I was like, oh, that's so cool.
yeah, I had you make a plumb, right? Out of
Yeah.
something. Yeah. And I would do
I
bike
took a
fits for
string
people.
and like a lug nut or a washer or something and made a
Yeah,
plumb.
just to make it heavy enough.
Mhm.
And I would just go and do bike fits for people. And, usually it would say, oh, I feel like I have a hatchet between, after a couple of hours between my shoulder blades, it feels like someone's got a hatchet in there, or my balls go numb. That happens anyway. Or this goes numb or that goes numb in my hands. And I'll go fix it. And then they'll call me and they'll say, hey, my average miles per hour, because everyone's got all these metrics on their bike, it's going up by like 2 miles an hour. And I'm putting out less effort. I'm looking at my heart rate. Could this be because of the bike fit? Absolutely.
Can you do a bike fit video on YouTube, Vinny?
No, it's not that. People have done it. And
yes, you can.
I'm not going to
yes,
do
you
that.
can.
No, I know I can, but
Vinny.
And the other thing is, people, oh, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. I'm so fucking fed up with people. I'm just so fed up.
I hear you on that.
Oh, you think that's a bike fit? I went to a guy that charged me $400 and they did it with a computer. Yeah, good luck. You know how many of those people would come to me after the computer fucked them up? Me and other people like me, old Italian guys that know how to use a plumb and the gauges and everything else. And I don't know. I got so much going on.
I still want you to make
it. I go do something else. I was showing people exercises on my Instagram. Why don't you do it like this? Why don't you shut the fuck up? How about we do that?
Why don't you post how you do it on your Instagram, friend?
Yeah.
Why don't you post how you make your own recipes, friend?
And today I did I did a throwback Thursday. I don't think anyone's looking at it. It's on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I had one that went viral the other day again.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Hardly anyone's seen this. It went up an hour ago and it's like 3,400 people have seen it. It was, do you remember a thing I did when, I first put my movie out, the first movie before the movie came out? Let's see, maybe I can play it.
I don't. I mean, play it and then I will probably remember.
I mean, if you remember this. And I saw it and I just sent it to Megan.
Because also too, you say, hey, do you remember that thing that I did one time? Remember that?
Yeah. All right. So here, let me see if I can play.
Who's that guy? The guy, Anna, the guy. He lives in Benedict Canyon and he's that guy.
Yeah. You know who I'm talking about. All right. Here we go. You ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
He goes, hey, hi, guys. I've been studying documentaries. And what I've learned is in order to do a proper documentary, you always have to be in the driver's seat of your car, speaking in a hushed tone. And then you have to go outside and do something. But you need an oversized shirt, a trucker ball cap, and a megaphone. So let's go yell at a building. Hey, I'm just standing here yelling at a building because this is what you do when you make a proper documentary. It means nothing. You're just a building. But this is very important. This building has done nothing to me, but I'm yelling at it because I'm making a documentary. Did I tell you I was making a documentary?
Are people walking by you when you were doing that?
Yeah.
They're like, all right, sir.
It was like, what's this guy doing with a megaphone yelling at a building? But that's what Michael Moore used to do. I took that.
I know he did. I was gonna say that was a Michael Moore shout out because like he would,
it was like
he would do that. And or no, Kip from is it Game Changers? He would stand with his arms up like, hey, do you know? Like he's yelling at someone's office window and you're like, is that even at the place where the person works?
Michael Moore. It's like, hey, I tried to get in there and do it, but they wouldn't.
Okay, listen.
They would always show you.
Yeah.
They would always show you with the $8 an hour security guard guy.
Yeah.
With the bare belly. It's poking out of his shirt. And it's like, I'm sorry, sir. They asked me to tell you to leave. Yeah, so they have all
Poor
that.
Guy, I know.
They're standing outside the building going, why won't you let me in? Why? It's like, you're yelling at concrete, dude.
Okay, well, listen, you need to go to Kellogg's and yell outside the building. And then we'll respect you as a filmmaker.
I got that kind of time in my hands. I just
go to Detroit, Grosse Pointe, or wherever they are.
Yeah, and just start yelling.
Lansing, I don't know, somewhere in Michigan.
Yeah.
And then it'd be hilarious because then Michael Moore, who also lives in Michigan, will come up next to you. He'll appear out of nowhere. That's what happens when you yell at a building in Michigan. Michael Moore appears to yell with you.
And he would look at it and go, "Hey man, cool trucker."
Hey man. Yeah. Hey,
where'd
bro.
you get that oversized?
You must be here filming a documentary. Yeah, I am. You too.
Hey,
High five. All right, let's do it.
You must know how to do a documentary. You're talking in a megaphone at a building.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Let's do another question.
Okay. Well, hold on. This one's for me.
Okay.
But I get this question a lot, and I bet you're going to want to know the answer to it.
I'm sure I do. I can't wait to hear my answer.
I know. Anna, love your posts, and I'm working through recipes. Great. Mm-hmm. Do you have any recipes, especially for the other flavors of marinara, like the puttanesca or the pink crema? If so, where can I find them? I don't see them on annavicino.com. I could just swap any marinara recipe for any of the other flavors, but I was looking for something specifically geared to those flavors. Thanks for all that you do. You're a valuable resource. Sincerely, Chris.
All right.
Delete this because I like to delete them after I ask. So I have a huge document of questions. Also, I'm going to look on Twitter because people have been asking fresh questions.
Oh, I got an Anna question after you answer this.
Okay. So here's the deal, Vinny, and you know this because you have this instinct because you're Italian. Marinara is a red sauce. Mm-hmm. Puttanesca is a red sauce with stuff in it, namely olives, capers, onions, oregano, and red pepper flake.
Horse sauce.
Horse sauce.
Yeah.
Pink crema is a red sauce with cream and Parmesan in it. Mm-hmm. Arrabbiata is a red sauce with spice in it. Do you see a theme here, Vinny?
Yeah, they're all red sauces.
They're all tomato-based red sauces.
Yeah.
And Alfredo is not a red sauce. It's a cream sauce, right? With
also,
cream and garlic.
That's one of the best characters in movie history, but okay.
That's true. So here's the deal. A lot of these sauces are interchangeable, which is why if you see the chicken parm recipe on my site or in my books, you can use whatever sauce flavor you're in the mood for, even the pumpkin marinara. You can make a pizza with the pink crema as the sauce. You can make Vinny's Bachelor chili with the puttanesca, or I have a stutanesca on Substack that uses the puttanesca with the meat and mushroom stew recipe that's from the first book. A lot of this stuff is interchangeable. You can use a pink crema with shrimp, or you could use spicy arrabbiata to make a shrimp fra diavolo, right?
Right.
So a lot of them are interchangeable. I do have a marinara meals PDF. So when you buy sauces, a PDF comes up for sale. It's a $4 thing, or it's like $8 if you pay full price. I'm going to be taking that down on January 15th. It's coming down. And that's because I'm going to use some of those recipes in my new book. And it frankly didn't sell that many copies. But if you really want inspiration, because this is what happened recently, Vinny, somebody posted in the group, I just ordered 8 twin packs of Anna's sauce. Now, what do I do with it? Laura asked that. And I really appreciated that question. And she got a lot of answers. But the thing is like, it's my job to tell you guys how to make NSNG food. That's what I love doing. So I would not be selling tomato sauce or spices without giving you guys lots of ways to make it. So I do have a lot of recipes, but the thing is with the red sauces, they are all interchangeable. So I just want to say that. What's your question, Vinny?
Well, before I have my question, I do have this.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
I can handle things. I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Like dumb, I'm smart and I want respect. I can handle things. I'm smart.
Poor Fredo.
Like everybody says. Like dumb, I'm smart and I want.
Fredo.
Poor Fredo. Things don't end well for Fredo.
No, right after that, he went for a canoe trip and he never came back.
No, he didn't. And by the way, if you want the best Alfredo sauce recipe, it's in my second book. And when people say to me too, hey, which one's your favorite? Because I need to get a present for somebody. I'm going to tell you honestly, if you're new to NSNG, start with the first book. Then when you have enough money saved up and you get bored with those recipes, buy the second book. They're both amazing books. The second one is, in my opinion, a more, how do I put this, Vinny? The recipes are better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just years of experience built on recipe writing. The third book is going to be even better just because you get better as things go along. However, if you're new to NSNG, you start with the first book and then you move on to the recipes of the second book. But the second book has that Alfredo recipe that's insane. It has a puttanesca recipe that's insane. It has the ranch recipe that's insane. It has a bunch of like crazy good recipes. Great, like,
Yeah.
Anyway, what was yours?
I was talking to a guy today, and he and his wife have your book and the whole thing, and they go, "Hey, we use a lot of cassava flour," and it's like, "Listen,
Oh,
I'm not a
that you didn't
fan."
hear that from my book.
Yeah, you didn't. I said that's not from Anna, and he was like, because he's gotten way healthier, but his triglycerides were 102 the last time it was checked. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a little high, and
Yeah.
and he says, "Yeah, we use a lot of cassava flour," and I was like, "You might as well
For
be
what? Did he say
trained."
for what?
And different sauces and this and that and the whole thing.
Oh,
And
because
said,
I could
"Look,"
tell you how to not use that.
yeah, I said, Anna explains how not to do this. Can you explain? Just give a little 2 to 3 minute lesson right now, if you don't mind.
Well, the thing is with cassava flour that I think cassava and tapioca are, and even like pea protein, yes, they're all technically grain free because they're root tuber starches.
Right.
And then obviously the pea protein is a legume.
Yeah.
So with these tuber starches like cassava and tapioca, they still have more starch in them, and they're very gummy, sticky. So they're used often as substitutes for like wheat flour, because the gluten in wheat flour is what makes things have that pull. When you rip the bread apart, like that's gluten. When you chew the cookie or the brownie end, it has that chewy, that's gluten that gives it that texture. So tapioca and cassava are often used to repeat that. And they're very cheap to grow. And they're often using like dog food as filler. So when you see grain-free dog food, read the ingredients, because oftentimes you'll see a bunch of cassava flour or tapioca, where that might not be the best thing for the dog. And you might find I fed my dog the grain-free dog food and they're still really itchy and they're scratching their skin.
They end up with all kinds of problems.
Yeah, it's a mess. So that's the example that I always like to give, because then it kind of makes sense. What's that Brazilian? The Brazilians use cassava and tapioca really well.
Right.
However, you're still going to be having too many carbs. You're going to defeat the purpose of NSNG if you're going heavy cassava. So they make those the cheese breads that are at Fogo de Chao. So if you go to Fogo de Chao or any Brazilian steakhouse, do the meat card and then have just the green vegetables at the salad thing. Don't give in to those cheesy tapioca cassava bread things that they make. Even though they're gluten-free, they are not grain-free.
Or you could do what I do.
They are grain-free, but they're not low carb. Sorry.
I go with my brother sometimes to one of these in Baton Rouge. Brazilian. I just sit there and just eat the meat, man.
Yeah, just sit and eat the meat. Honestly,
God,
and I will say the salad bar is probably the best salad bar on the planet, for sure. However, the meat is what's the star.
It's a fool's game. It is.
Fool's game. You're going to get full on that, and don't do that. Eat the meat.
It's like,
so here's the thing: if you're using cassava flour to make baked goods, you're going to be in big trouble because you're having a lot of starch. If you're using it to bread your chicken cutlets or bread whatever you're breading, not polpette, what do they call the spadini? When you make roll-ups and things like that. You can use almond flour, which is going to be less in carbs than cassava flour, or you can use crushed up pork rinds, which is even less than almond flour. I don't ever want to demonize nuts or anything because people have different tolerance levels for those things, but some people really have to stay away. So then I say, we'll stick to, crushed up pork rinds. And you could even mix in a little flax meal with the pork rinds to give it a little more crunch for an outside coating. I wouldn't do cassava I have a really good pancake recipe actually in both of the books, but the first book is a really good grain-free pancake recipe. I wouldn't use cassava. Again, you're really jacking up your starch level more than you think you are, and you're going to be defeating your goals. So just be careful, especially cassava flour is used in everything that they're trying to replicate the quote unquote keto version of crackers, cookies, breads, flours. And you're going to see that, it's grain free. And you buy the little chips and you eat it. You're like, these are so good. I can't believe they're grain free. And you flip it over and then you look and it has I know nutritional panels are bullshit, but 18 grams of carbs per serving. It's definitely not something that you want to be. And also too, it's chips. You're going to eat the whole bag. That's just life. So does that help, Vinny?
Anna, I'm going to make that the final word tonight because
great.
You gave out some mad good information there, folks.
Anybody who asks questions on Twitter, by the way, today, we're going to get to it next week. Go ahead.
Anna Vocino has Eat Happy and Eat Happy Too. We talked about it a bunch in this show. She also has over at Eat Happy Kitchen, you could get all the sauces, not all of them, the ones that are in stock right now, and also the powders. Anna, you got all the powders in stock.
We have all the powders. I believe we
Okay.
sold out of the spicy already, and I meant to send you one, but we sold out. Sorry.
Make money, Anna. Don't worry about me.
We're gonna make some more because it was
it
sold out so fast.
Yeah, I know. Look,
we sold out of our holiday bundles too, but you guys, I'll be honest with you, the holiday bundle is just sauce and spice. So you just buy some sauces and some spice and make a little thing for your friends.
yeah. So go do that. You know what to do with me. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, go to VinnieTartars.com, click through the banner, it puts coal on the fire, and it gets my train down the track. We also have the Superfan page, and we also have the Nickel and Dime Me to Death ebook. If you want to be nickel and dime by me, go get the ebook.
The best $10 you'll ever spend on your health.
And
guys.
you guys, everyone I talk to when I do the consults, it's like, hey man, the ebook changed my life. It changed my life. Even when it was free, and now that people don't care. That $10 doesn't matter. People love it. I'm going to cut